Oh shit.
Okay, we're alive, so it's just a matter of waiting for people to pop.
Ragnar literally broke the wall today.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking insanity. Like, I don't even know how he did it. I'm gonna send you a picture of it right now. It's ridiculous.
Hey, Josie. Hey,
Hey,
how you doing? Window capture. I'm just.
you're not gonna believe this when you fucking see it. I know we're live, but you got to see this. It's insane. It's insane.
Hello, Mrs. Krueger. Deborah. Oh yeah, Mrs. Krueger. If you could email me your Skype handle and or email that you have, we'll give you a call after the show. Um, that go over your story. If I seem a bit scatterbrained, it's because I'm trying to find the chat window to pop into the thing here. Um,
Everybody knows. Do you have a mustache?
I felt like Mario today. It's most likely temporary. I just kind of
Hey,
want.
Mr. Fries.
Oh, he's still here. He's behind me. Okay.
He's doing his peekaboo routine.
Okay.
Look at that fucking picture before we get started.
Hang on. I'm just telling hello to everybody.
Hello to everybody.
Hello, Jenkin, Caramoso, Deborah, DJ Maniac. I said hello to Josie, DJ, Josh, Vicky,
Yes, Vicky, we just started.
Bonkers.
We haven't even started.
Yeah,
We're
we're
starting to
late.
start.
We're holy fuck. Wow. Ragnar did that, hey?
Yeah, like with his fucking leg or something. He literally knocked the paint off the walls.
Oh, you're gonna have an interesting time with him.
Oh,
You know what, Miss Krueger, Kelly, right? I did get your email. The problem, I'll tell you why I don't respond to a lot of them now, is that I formatted my phone, and I got my emails coming in, but the whatever server setting I got in for my outgoing mail is not right, and it's always a hassle to get it off Bluehost. So I don't email back until I'm on my computer, and I'm not on it a lot these days. Actually, usually just for the podcast. So that's why you haven't heard back from me yet. Um, Hello, TP, Evil and Me, Barry, Marilyn, Russell. Okay, so let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the online campfire effed up stories. I am your host, Will Pender,
and I am your co-host, Ryan Sharp.
and tonight we have a bunch of submissions and stuff like that, and you all know the drill. So we're gonna start with that. One of the things that I was gonna do this time, I noticed in the comments from last time that uh, was Gregory, where's his name? I think it's Underwood. Yes, Gregory Underwood. He posted and made me feel a little bad that we hadn't put his submissions up because I've been doing them randomly. So tonight we're gonna do some of his. Hello, Lucky Strike. Full names. I appreciate that. It makes me feel proper.
Hey, Lucky.
I would love to hear the other ones, Mrs. Krueger, and we're actually going to be talking to her after the show, more about her episode. I would have tried to rig this up to get her on the show, but I just don't have Skype rigged up that way right now. We haven't had that subscription going for a bit. So let's just start with some of these submissions. So first of all,
I have my drinks always at the ready, Jose.
Ryan cannot, being sober is a hard thing to do. You have to have your booze.
I don't know how sober people do it.
Life is cruel.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start with. I got a bunch of. Actually, I got stuff here from Gregory Underwood and Rob Mason. And Rob Mason, I have pictures with, and these are all new to me, by the way. You guys are gonna be going through these with me. It's all of our first time. We're all virgins to these stories. How many of us can say we're virgins right now, right? Well, at least to this. All right. So this came from Gregory Underwood not too long ago, I don't think. And I'm just going to read it. It was October. It was cool, overcast, and midway through hunting season in an area just southeast of Sweet Home, Oregon. It was just like any other hunting trip he had been on when he was younger, but this time it was going to be different. Eerily different. It was early afternoon. It was beginning to warm up. Having had no luck to speak of, him and his group, they all met back at the camp, had some lunch, and after eating, Greg's dad and uncle decided that it would be best if, they did this large drive through the brush and hopefully flush out some of the deer. They stood on the road, spaced 20 feet apart, and they waited until the uncle gave the signal. And that's when Greg and his father began walking and pushing their way through the dense undergrowth and trees. While Greg's dad and himself had become bogged down in a patch of fallen timber, his uncle and cousins pulled ahead and were now leading them by a good 20 yards. His dad Greg and his dad continued to push forwards through the unforgiving tangle, and they were both very tired and just saturated with sweat. And the tangle suddenly gave way to a small open meadow. And it was clear of trees, of stumps, all covered in dark green, dew-covered grass about a foot high. It was so tranquil and so very serene that it seemed unreal. They walked slowly across the meadow to the start of the next tangle just a few yards away, when suddenly a shot rang out, then another, and another, and then several more. It was his cousins and their dad shooting at a fleeing deer, attempting to make its escape through the dense undergrowth. Greg looked at his dad, who by now was squatting down and motioning for him to do the same. He quickly glanced around the meadow while squatting down and then looked back into the trees. He listened as one shot after another tore through the silence again and again. They were followed by shouts and brief replies. Greg looked over at his father. There, no more than 12 yards away, stood a little girl. She just stood there looking right at them, and then in the direction of all of the shooting, and then back to them once more. Greg's dad said, "There's a little girl over there." And without so much as a glance, he quickly replied, "There's not." No, I just fucked that up. Greg said to his dad, "There's a little girl over there." And without so much as a glance, his dad replied, "No, there's not. Now, shh. Be quiet and stay down." So bewildered, Greg was unable to take his eyes off of her. She stood there about 3 feet high, had light wavy brown hair to her shoulders, wearing a blue and white Sunday type dress with ruffled lace around the collar and cuffs. He kept thinking to himself, what is she doing here? Why is she standing there? He looked at the area at her feet. The grass had not been pressed down. Very odd. He thought, this is not natural. It's not normal. There's something strange here. And once again he looked at her face, which held no expression. Only when a shot rang out did her expression change. She would scrunch her nose and squint her eyes as though to show annoyance towards the sound. In the distance, Greg heard shouting, then someone yelling, "I got it." Quickly, Greg looked back toward the tree line, then back once again at the little girl, but she was gone. Where could she have gone? He had only looked away for a mere second. He was puzzled, shocked. She would have had to cover 20 yards to the tree line in just under a second. Not humanly possible. Greg continued to look around himself for some sign of the girl. After all the shouting had stopped, quickly he stood up and began to search. He found nothing. Not a trace that she had even had been there. Where she stood, no grass had been pushed down, and the dew was undisturbed. He stood there looking at the spot where she had stood, his mind racing, attempting to find some reason, some sort of explanation for what he had just witnessed. And then he heard his dad calling his name. He was already pushing through the next thicket, not caring to wait, and yelling to Greg, to catch up. And not wanting to be left behind, he quickly pursued his father into the next thicket. Once there, both Greg and his uncle and cousins waited with their fresh kill. Upon arrival, they were quickly treated to a dramatic play-by-play account of how they, snagged their deer, and that lasted the better part of 30 minutes. It kind of cracks me up. I swang with my left and I swang with my right. No. Anyway, encompassing all of the events and actions leading up to the final downing of the said deer. And when they finished, they headed back to camp. They were tired. They were hungry. And on the way, Greg brought up the fact that he had seen this little girl in that small meadow that they had all crossed while making that drive. And was swiftly met with the barrage of laughter, pop shots of sarcasm, not to mention endless jokes questioning his sanity. And since that day, he's only told a handful of people, and every time he's met with both, extreme skepticism and laughter, which is pretty normal for those of us who have experienced the paranormal. And through the years, he's tried to make some sense of it, but of course to no avail. And in the end, he is only left with his experience and an unwavering belief in the unknown. So, I guess the interesting point being here, he was there with his father. Why could Greg see it and not his father? Ryan, were you able to pay attention that time? Can I ask you questions?
Most certainly. Was there a particular question, or you just want me to answer what I think you want to ask me? Ryan, can I ask you a question? Sure.
What I was
dead silence.
What I asked was, now if you heard it.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
yeah,
so what?
I listened.
Okay, you listened.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Okay, but my question was, what's your thoughts on the fact that, Greg could see this little girl and his father, who was with him, could not?
Now, that's not what but his father didn't even look.
No, his father.
Without even looking, he said, "No, there's not."
Hang on, let me scroll back here.
Without
so much as a glance. Well, that's the question now. No, I guess he didn't look. I guess
So I automatically assume that Dad has some foreknowledge about the Blair Witch or whatever the fuck is out there in the woods, and has either seen it before himself or knows about it in some other way.
So you think that it's a known, like there's a history there that maybe the I guess.
Well, that's the only way I can explain the father's reaction, unless I'm totally off base with that. But from what I'm getting there is that without even looking, he said, no, it's not. So maybe he knows that it's an illusion.
Maybe he knows that, if maybe the area is known for it. And
well, yeah, I'm assuming he had some foreknowledge.
He just does not want to acknowledge the fact that, that happens or whatever. Not something that I guess grounded hunters really want to deal with, right?
Well, it's not unusual for hunters to tell tales, especially when you're out in the woods around the fire.
Not usually around ghosts, though.
I don't know. out in the woods after you're done hunting for the day, kick back around the campfire. I mean, it was we talked about weird uh, forest things
Yeah, but
when
you're a weird guy. Right? Like,
fair enough.
you're a weird guy. The people you hang around with are weird guys. I'm a weird guy. That's how we hung out. That's kind of our thing. I mean, I sometimes sit in the shower, and you sometimes like to hurt small animals. I mean, it's part of
I certainly do not.
it's part of this weird eccentric traits that we have that makes our viewpoint so interesting to other weird folk that tune into our show. I mean, let's face it, we're all fucked. If we're in the same chat room and we're all watching this video, we're all fucked. But anyway, I digress. To me, it's the story of, for some reason, Russell, or not Russell, is it Russell? Is it Gregory? Gregory. Close. They might have had a letter or two in there that was similar.
Will poops in the shower. He just says, "Yeah, you just poke it down the hole with your toe."
And that's what you told my mom.
Oh man, she was so disgusted.
She brought that up not that long ago. That scarred her, man. You put scars in her mind from that.
Well, I remember she asked, or you were arguing with her about peeing in the shower.
It's all pipes, right?
It's all pipes. And I walked in mid-argument, and your mom looked at me and said, "Ryan, you don't think that's right? You don't pee in the shower, do you?" And I said, "Sure, I poop in the shower. I just poke it down the hole with my toe."
It's just waffle stomping.
yeah, that's right. And the look on her face was fucking priceless.
And it's still that same look.
And it's stuck with her today.
Yeah,
to this day.
It's like that old expression, right?
13 years.
Don't make that face. Your face will stay like that. The thing parents tell their kids. And it happened to her. It's like you told her that. And since then, she's like, just this fucked up look, right? But, yeah, so to me, Gregory, either he's just more susceptible. He's more open to it. He can see the shit. But just the way that his father acted about it. There's two ways you can take that. He knows about it, and he's like, no, it's not. No, it's fucking not out there, right? Or, shut up, fucking Gregory. You're my worst child. Just fucking hunt. Why do you have me on this weird shit? Right? It's like, why can't you just fucking hunt like a man? I mean,
Why can't you just be normal and stop embarrassing me in front of our friends? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's some kids, right? But anyway, that is Gregory's story. So he was a little sad in the last comments that we haven't covered it. So hopefully, I didn't butcher it too bad. We got the story out there. And thank you, Gregory, for sending that in.
Yes.
I joke, but that's just what I do.
Fire Guyver. I don't actually poop in the shower. It's just something I said to, make an awkward conversation even more awkward.
He just texted me a winky face. I don't actually do it, right? But but anyway, I mean that's just part of his rituals. He has to.
Oh my. All right.
Anyway, so let's get on. So I'm going to read this part first. I got some stuff here from Rob Mason, right? And his has pictures, right? So we don't get as many pictures as we do stories, but I like that he has some stories behind it. So I'm going to read the story first. Actually, no, fuck that. I'm going to pop the picture up first. Hang on. This is the one. Hang on. It's kind of cumbersome how I have to add this stuff to the chat. No rum for me. I'm actually barely functional sober tonight, so I'm actually on a lot of pharmaceuticals right now. I have a lot of issues. Yay me. Let me just pop this on here. Window capture picture. What do I call it? Man, I got fucking 20 windows open here. Here we go. Pop the pictures cherry. I like that.
Well, you said that these are all virgin stories, right?
That's right. The best con. Cons you can pop. All right. So, not like a used store, right? No one wants to use stuff. But anyway, I'm going to read the story. This is the picture. It is my Ebola. It's my Ebola. It's my Sharona. Anyway, I've got issues tonight. All right. So, this is the backstory behind this picture. As you can see, it's a X-ray, right? So, Rob said he's only submitting this because he believes the person that gave him this picture was sincere about it, considering that this is an X-ray and is technically private info protected under law.
You probably should be showing like the serial numbers and shit.
Can you see that?
Uh, I see something. I don't know what it is.
I don't even know how to crop this on this program. Oh,
Well, it's too late now.
Here we go. Yeah, I guess it's out there now. It's live. Hey.
Yeah.
It don't fucking matter. Anyway, I was given the picture, so whatever. It's not my fault. So yeah.
All right. So what are we looking at here?
Well, that's what I'm gonna read here. Don't worry, Quizzle. Ryan's beard will be right back with glitter. That's what he's doing. I'm hiding this here so he can decorate it for you.
So I can bedazzle it.
He can bedazzle it. Okay, looking at the content of this picture, I can understand if you're doubtful of the claim, as, he initially was doubtful as well. So, the graveyard shift nurse who sent him this picture told him that she received it from the technician that actually took the x-ray. And the technician's story is that the patient was an old woman, and there was no one standing next to her at the moment this exposure was being taken. Yet a hand mysteriously appears in the exposure, complete with a skeletal structure. And you can see that. I don't know if you can see my mouse. But it's up. Do you see it up in the top left-hand corner there? There's a hand. Right?
Yeah, like the tip of some fingers or something.
Right. So anyway, the nurse told him that the hospital she worked at the time was known to be haunted. And the apparitions of patients and a deceased doctor who once worked there have been cited by many of the hospital staff members. Now, this picture makes Rob think that if it is as legit as the technician claimed, then there may be more to spirit anatomy than we think. Obviously, because we got physical, we have a physical image here. Also, X-rays may have the potential of interdimensional reach to some degree. Perhaps spirit bodies have full anatomical structures like our own. And in brackets he has, however, in a glorified form, biblical speaking, as in 1 Corinthians 15:42-44, yet they are dwelling on another dimension where we cannot directly interact with them. Yet the radioactive light of this X-ray was capable of catching something, like the way the flash from a camera can sometimes capture a seemingly invisible apparition at night, and ultraviolet sunlight catching them as well in the daytime. Now, he doesn't know, he doesn't really know what it is, but he would like to know what we think, though. And is all this a possibility, or was the story behind this photo just bullshit? And he has a biblical reference, I guess, to that what he was referencing earlier, Corinthians 15:42-44. The body is sown in corruption; it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor; it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness; it is raised in power. It is sown in natural body; it is raised in spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. Like, I guess the first thing I have to ask just about that reference is, why can't it just be fucking simple? Like, it's too... that's the Bible. I'm not against it, but it's too fucking interpretable.
Well, it was written 2,000 years ago.
To be or not to be. And it's almost Shakespearean.
Right? And, I mean, it was written in Hebrew. So when it comes to translations, now the version that's probably from is most likely the King James version, which was, of course, translated into Old English And that's why it's all the thuses and cometh and
Come hither.
all those um, peculiar. But I mean, you can buy modern speech versions. It just doesn't sound very authoritative when it's
Well, I guess
written in modern language.
let's just dissect the picture, right? So, like, I, what's interesting to me is that
So like the hand part you're talking, it's basically three fingers.
yeah, well, it looks like you could see, I mean, like it's cut off, right, because of where the
Yeah.
X-ray is taken. But I mean, if there was nobody there, I can't really explain it. Like, it's different than like a camera. Like, I don't know exactly what goes on with X-rays, but I don't imagine
Well,
that you're
all an X-ray is, it's the exact same thing as taking a regular picture. It's the same principle. The only difference is that you're using your receiver is sensitive to X-rays and not visible light spectrum. So, and what you do is you blast out a big burst of X-rays, which are a higher energy particle. Works on a. Now, I may be wrong, but I think it's a longer wavelength, and because it's a longer wavelength, unlike a photon, which will get absorbed or reflected by most surfaces, an X-ray can pass through the soft tissue in a human body, and is more reflected by the bone or something like that.
right.
So it is a higher energy particle. Um,
No, but my question was like, how like in old school, say SLR photography, people go into dark rooms and stuff like that, and
yeah,
sometimes like when they're exposing images, like one would bleed through to the next one, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
is that something that can happen with an X-ray?
well, I mean, they're not exposed like that, right? Like the
Right.
thing with an X-ray is that a modern day X-ray, I guess they're mostly digital, but there's also you put an X-ray reactive sheet up and blast it with. I guess if you had two of the sheets stuck together, right? You have a hand, and then the X-ray, just the blank sheet, and when they fired the X-ray, perhaps it could it could burn the image onto the woman's X-ray. I don't know, as a possibility, but I would imagine that there are glitches that could happen. There are. I mean, the obvious go-to choice would be to say that it's some kind of glitch because of either the production of the image or whatever digital processing was used. That it was just a mistake. I don't know. I don't think it's possible for the technician to accidentally catch his hand in the photo. Right? It's not
No,
like
well,
he's
like the
taking a picture. Right? They're behind a fucking wall.
yeah, well, they don't want to. They're doing that all day. They can't be out where the X-rays are,
Yeah,
but
getting fucking irradiated constantly.
but like, I mean, I just looked at the picture again. I know I don't have it back up on the screen here, but um, you know, I don't see how. If the doctor is talking about it like this is a thing and a spooky thing and
Well, it was the technician,
yeah, well,
right?
obviously there was nobody there. Like, it's not somebody else's hand, and I don't think it could have been. Um,
So if it's not a, what are you laughing at?
someone said that you are the reincarnation of Hitler, and it just brought back that whole. Remember
And,
the reincarnate. I was the reincarnation of Leonardo da Vinci, and you are. Anyway,
oh
That was a good one. That was
That was up there in terms of weirdness.
he believed it. That was the thing that.
Okay, so if we've established that it is possible in some way, shape, or form for it to be either a mistake or I've seen it pop up several times, Photoshop. Yeah, sure. There's always a the chance that somebody doctored an image and sent it in and told the story. But now we're going to speculate as if that was not the case. Hi, Fire Guyver. um, I like the theory of X-rays jumping into another dimension. They are more energetic waves or particles or both, because apparently things are both particles and waves. Um,
But why would it have bones? Like I'm looking at it again, and it's like when I think of the spiritual body, it is completely separate from the physical body. There is no
but it doesn't
bones.
have to be a spirit, does it? Right? This could simply be a
A
an
corporeal,
image of
a,
something.
a
Yeah.
corporeal manifestation of like some kind of
Well, not
a
even that. It
person.
doesn't have to be a ghost. Is what I'm
Well,
saying.
well, that's what I was saying. Like a corporeal like a person,
Corporeal.
a corporeal, whatever. Egon, Ghostbusters, right? I'm a stage 5 fucking corporeal. Yeah. Anyway, I've been watching that lately. The cartoon. I bought it for Isaac. Still good.
I seen a comment earlier about a beard fetish. I don't know if that's a real thing, but
Yeah, I can just see you lathering that up right now and poking in all different kinds of holes. Just fucking, just lather it up. Here, just let me tie this up and slip it in and slip it.
you what is wrong with you?
I don't know. A lot.
Yeah. Okay, so back on topic here. I don't know if X-rays themselves could cause a rift. I'd be more inclined to believe that it would be possible to grab a picture of uh, another reality that's really close to ours, maybe just slightly out of phase by, a few hertz or however you want to put it. The idea that there are multiple realities, dimensions, and that they're just a slight frequency shift away in some cases. And maybe there are situations when
I'm
an
sorry.
X-ray.
People are doing this to me. It's not my fault.
Now I don't remember where I was. I think it may be possible under certain circumstances to grab pictures of other dimensions or things in other dimensions.
I think it's possible too. I do want to make a note on pictures though. You know, people mention taking pictures with your flash, right? Remember when we went on that ghost walk
Yes.
when I was visiting you, right? And they were like, make sure you got your flash on because, you'll catch a ghost. Well, like I guess you'd say an amateur photographer, right? I've been doing it for a long time. But I'll tell you, like, if you get your flash on and, like, there's all
In the
kind,
dark outside.
yeah, outside, even inside, like, there's always dust particles and, like, if you're outside, there's pollen and everything like that. And most often times what you're actually seeing, because your camera's focused on something, usually in the distance or in the foreground, but wherever that dust or pollen is not in focus. So it's going to be blurry. And now you add a flash on top of that, and now you have what looks like a glowing orb, right? And how many pictures do we have that are glowing orbs that, like, people think that is, like, in my opinion, if you're going to catch something, you don't need that flash. Like, if you're going to catch it, you're going to catch it without the flash, right? Because what's the flash gonna do? Really, unless it was like a smoke entity or something like that, and then you see it anyway. So like, I just think that I don't think that's the right thing to tell people if you're going on a ghost walk, that you're gonna, turn on your flash and you'll be, you're good to go, because you're just catching out of focus fucking dust particles that the flash catches.
And because the dust is so close to the camera, it reflects a lot of light. So
Oh
they look
yeah,
like little glowing orbs, depending
it,
on what the dust is made out of. Right.
exactly,
So you'll
exactly.
get different colors, you'll get different brightnesses. Sometimes they'll look um, semi-transparent, just because of the way the camera takes a picture. Um, yeah, I mean the whole flash thing is fucking silly.
It is. It's silly. So I mean, the only thing I'll say for orbs, right? Like, and this is a little bit. I'm not saying all orbs are bullshit. Like I know that's one of the things that comes up. Um, and you know what? I'm glad to hear that, Mrs. Krueger, because like anytime you're involved with this stuff, and people aren't really experienced with it, it's easy to jump to conclusions to what this stuff is. But I will say that one time when me and my wife was on a ghost walk, she must have taken hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and she just had one of those like little, snap Canon, the easy breezy cover girl. No, the cheap fucking consumer friendly kind, right? And there, like, this was in St. John's, and Ryan, the the courthouse, like really fucking old. It's got like a
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's got
yeah.
a clock
Like
on it and shit.
downtown.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that place apparently got a history. I mean, something that a lot of people don't know. Actually, well, who the fuck knows where Newfoundland is anyway? All you guys are probably in the States, right? But anyway, so this St. John's is an extremely old place, and this courthouse has like history, right? Of like hangings and shit like that. And anyway, Brittany, like I said, like she had taken hundreds of pictures that night, and like 3 pictures that she took at that courthouse, different angles, mind you, on different sides of it and everything like that. Dude, there are hundreds and hundreds of orbs in it. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was so disproportionate to all the other pictures, and so like, I mean, dramatically more like just crazily filled, and different angles and everything else, I can't explain it. I'm not saying there's not an explanation, but I couldn't explain it, so I'm not saying that like all orb pictures is bullshit. I'm just saying that I think the large majority are what we just discussed, right? They're just dust particles that are out of focus with the flash lighting them up. Not that that had anything to do with the X-ray picture, but
Well, I mean, there was a reference to it in the story, like what the technician or the
yeah,
nurse or somebody said, brought up the whole flash scenario, and it's what we do, tangents.
it's kind of our thing.
Hmm.
So I do have another picture from Rob, and another like little. Oh my God, I didn't do this, did I? Did I fucking do this? Hang on, Ryan. I might have done a bad thing. I might have done a bad thing. I might be able to find it fast. I fucking closed that goddamn thing I had. Okay, I got it back. But I did close it. And now there's a story I picked out that's like, I gotta find a new one. Anyway. Okay, so this, shit, wrong one. Hang on. See how scattered I am tonight? Can you
I
tell?
know.
Can you tell I'm losing my marbles?
It's called pareidolia bunkers, I believe is how it's pronounced.
You're right, it is. Um, you're talking about where you see faces and things that
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna throw this picture up here, and again, like I haven't like looked at this stuff to, like I don't know what we're really gonna be looking at yet. Let's see, window capture. Yeah.
So this could literally just be a dick pic.
Well, I know it's not a dick pic because I'm looking at it, but I don't know what I'm looking
Okay.
at right yet.
Okay.
Um, that would be interesting to throw
That
up there, though.
that's the that's the most common photograph we receive. The what the fuck am I looking at photograph.
Oh
I
yeah,
was like, oh, can't you see it? It's clear as day. And it's like, like a poo smudge, a light, and
I
like
have
the strap from the camera.
I have been like, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like when we're getting a story, like I just take it at face value. I mean, we've talked about that before, right? But when we get a
Yes.
picture, I've been fucking editing photos like on a like professional level, really, for years, right? I've been using Photoshop for how long?
Back
Like
before it was even good.
back before it was even good. Like a lot of stuff that Adobe has now is macro media back when I was using. So I've been using Photoshop for like 10, 15, 17 years, right? I call myself an amateur photographer, but let's face it, everything I take looks like fucking gold. I've had them in magazines, I do them into paper, like,
The best thing about you is your modesty.
I know my modesty is just so
your most shining quality.
my most shining quality. So when people send me pictures, I really do look at it, and I go in there and I try to prove that it's fake first. That's what you do, right? I'm not trying to be a dick. I mean, I go in there and I'm trying to like, okay, is this legit? Can I explain it? And most of the time that I do that, I find like all kinds of things that is the reason for what they're seeing or what it is. And when I tell them what it is, and like I'm very descriptive and putting it out, and they get pissed at me. Like I remember this one guy, and he might still watch the show and get really mad that I bring this up. I don't know. But he gave me like 30 pictures. And like, I mean, he had like measurements, like, I mean, like actual, like taken like tape measures, like, and this is exactly how far away this is. Like, I mean, he went to like crazy effort to show how this, was there and stuff like that. But what I was looking at was so subtle and so,
it was like a handful of out of place pixels.
right, I couldn't give him nothing, and he got so mad. Like he even brought it up in like
I remember
months later in like different podcasts. He like brought up, like,
don't bother sending in a picture; they'll just shit all over it.
right, and I was like,
It was something like that, wasn't it?
It was more or less, and I was like, I was trying to be nice, like I was nice about it. It's not like I was like, yeah, it's a bunch of baloney. And I never did that. I just said,
Explain what it was that he was actually seeing.
And he took great offense. So, like, that's one of the things I like about stories, right? Because, like, I mean, some of these things, if, like, somebody said they got a haunted farm or something like that, and I went out there and I never experienced anything, or if, like, I saw something that was, like, so subtle. If it was, like, that fucking show, I was like, if someone's there, knock. Ah! Like that, one of those fucking limey shows. If it was something like that I went out and witnessed, I would be coming back like, that was bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, like that's just what it is. Like, so that's the great thing with stories. You're not proving it to me. I'm taking it at face value. But I mean, the truth is, if we were out on the field, Ryan, you and I, if we were on the field and we had cameras, we would be as skeptical as anyone else. And I don't think we'd be bringing any fucking drama to it and acting all crazy like this is what it is. And this, would we? We wouldn't do that. Unless they were paying us lots of money, we wouldn't do that, right?
Now, this is the picture that Rob Mason sent in.
Yes, so I'm gonna read.
He just popped up in chat.
Okay,
hey, Rob.
We're analyzing your pic. Well, actually, Rob, we haven't analyzed it yet. We just went on a tangent about other people's pictures. Anyway, so I'm gonna read you what Rob, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna read you what Rob.
My God.
I know, right?
You need to start taking some ginkgo biloba or whatever that memory herb is.
See, I even forgot what you just said.
Oh,
You
Lord.
said it, now I forgot my name. I don't even. Anyway, I'm going to read what Rob sent in with this picture. This photo was texted to me by a former college classmate back in 2012. He said he took this picture of an old boarded up house in a small Texas town where his grandmother lived while he was visiting her during semester break. But he didn't notice the apparitions until he looked at the picture. In front of the cement steps. So let's follow along with this now, folks. In front of the cement steps stand two young girls. You know, I can actually see that. I will admit, I can see that. Apparently holding hands and staring at the camera user. Okay, yeah, I can see that. They appear to be from perhaps the early to mid 1900s. I can't see enough to tell that. The hair of the girl on the right appears to be in pigtails. I can kind of see that. And both are wearing dresses down to the knees. That I can see. There may be a possible third one to the right, but it's so vague that I could just be matrixing. And yeah, I could see that there's kind of like a warbliness, I guess. He has no information on this house or even the name of the town that it was in. Plus, he don't talk to the guy anymore.
House. That looks like a fuck. I thought it was a church or some
I
shit.
thought it was a satanic church, you know, but
Some kind of devil
some
church.
kind of devil church. He said
Hell church.
this is interesting. He said he can't transfer this pic to any other device since it's not a smartphone and no longer has service, or since it's not a smartphone. So this is actually a picture of the picture. Okay, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, you can't upload it to a computer, and the phone isn't connected to anything anymore,
Right,
so we can't send it.
right. So I mean, like, Ryan, you do a little talking. I'm gonna pop this right into Photoshop, and just while I'm doing that, see if I
See,
can.
see if you can sharpen it up. Um, you know, the idea of spirits and ghosts is something that's been with us forever. Ghost stories are probably older than the written word, literally. Um, and across every culture, every period of time, spirits and ghosts and people seeing spirits and ghosts interacting with them um, has been woven into our culture. Um, Again, in every civilization. Um, and I find it interesting that spirits and ghosts have this quality where
Hmm.
as our technology progressed and we left um, campfires and huts um, and evolved into this technological species that spirits and ghosts and specters and phantasms and whatever else you want to use have followed us. They've interfaced with our technology. There's ghost cars and ghost ships and um, ghostly horse riders, and now we're into uh, catching them on camera, on CCTV, ghosts in our computers. It's a phenomenon that has continued to evolve along with us since the very beginning.
I actually do have. I'm gonna pop this up here now.
Okay,
You actually
pop
can't.
up video.
That's old, man. I feel old with you saying that. I got two actually. And like I mean, I'm really fucking sloppily doing this. I'm sure if I spent some time at it, I could pop this out even better, right? But just to give you folks a little bit of a better look at, like, I mean, you're looking at that picture and you're probably thinking, you can kind of see it, kind of can't see it. Well, I'm just gonna pop this up really quick so that you can get a better sense of what this actually looks like. I got one in black and white, and I got one in color. I think the black and white one you can see better. But anyway, so window capture.
Vicky, I know that you've asked about the pyramid several times. Not ignoring you, sorry, but just, we were talking about other stuff. Maybe we will touch on that a little bit tonight. Who knows? You got uh,
So
you got that image, or
this is the colored one. I'm gonna pop up the black and white one after that, but you can already see like with a little touch of contrast and stuff like that. Can
it
you see?
must be? I'm not seeing anything. It must be the delay.
All right, you let me know when that pops online and you can actually see it.
Okay, it just popped
It's
up.
there, so
Yeah,
everybody can see this. Everybody can see this now. So like all I did was I pumped up the contrast and played with the levels a little bit, and you can already see that I think a lot better than you could in the original picture, right?
yeah.
So now I'm gonna pop up the black and white one because I think you can even see that a little better. So and this this is typically, and I said like this is a really quick
Rough
blotch.
pass.
Like I can do almost fucking anything with Photoshop. So when I get photos from people and they really want me to analyze it, I do, and usually they don't like they don't like my analysis
Yeah.
because I can usually show
I
that
will
it.
say, I will say for the record, Will's a fucking wizard with Photoshop and has been using it for a long time. And if he gives you an opinion about a video or an image or something, you can pretty much take that to the bank. The man knows his stuff when it comes to Photoshop.
I'm the media guy. Ryan's the science guy. Like
Hmm.
like I Ryan
We
like
all have our roles.
we have our things. Like I mean, you all know if we get into a topic on like some kind of scientific topic or something with just a lot of detail, Ryan's a walking encyclopedic, like an encyclopedia. I mean, and I knew that like right from the beginning. Is one of the reasons why I knew like we had these great conversations. I've always been multimedia and just like artsy fartsy creative kind of shit, right? So together, that's kind of how we pull this thing together. Yeah, for sure. Radio. Send me whatever pictures, any pictures that you guys want to send in, and just so everybody gets the reference here, as Russell says, the gas that artist thing going on. Gas is a. It sounds like you got to fart, but it's actually a term people use in like when you're collecting audio gears, like I forget what it is, like gear something. Anyway, I can't remember. See, my mind is scrambled, but it doesn't. I don't think it necessarily means. It doesn't actually mean gas. Not saying I don't ever have it, but anyway, how did I get here? How did this happen? How did this happen to me?
Oh
Um,
my! I wish I
so
had an answer for you.
I do too.
Your
Yeah,
poor
ants.
wife. That's all I have to say.
My poor wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really did land a trophy husband.
Oh man.
All right, let me see. I did have some more submissions. So let me see what I got here.
So okay, Vicky Farr has asked several times about my opinion on the pyramids, and I mean, I've said this 1,000 times if I've said it once, and I have a lot of difficulty believing wholeheartedly in any one thing. That in all my years of reading and learning, paranormal and conspiracies and all this crazy shit, is that my thoughts and my opinions can change with new piece of evidence, new bit of data. And so I stopped believing in things, but there are definitely for any topic there are various scenarios that I think may be possible. And when it comes to the pyramids, I could certainly see like there's some real odd facts when it comes to the pyramids. They're built with such a precision that in it, if you compare it to things in our modern day, our modern world, those kinds of tolerances, and when I say tolerance, I mean, if you're putting two things close together and you want them, lined up in a certain way, the tolerance is how much error that you're going to allow into whatever it is that you're building. Now, the tolerances to which the pyramids were constructed are on par with machinery that we only save such like you're going to be way more detailed and careful and accurate with your measurements and your placement of things when you're building a machine with moving parts and gears and pulleys and chains than you are if you're just building a house, right? If one side of the room is a quarter inch out from the other side of the room, it's not going to make a fucking licking difference. But if you're out by a few thousandths of an inch in certain pieces of machinery, that whole thing could just fly apart into a million pieces. And so tolerances in machinery tend to be very accurate, very little room for error, and that is the degree to which the pyramids were built. That is so fucking unnecessary when you're talking about a massive megalithic structure that it makes no logical sense. The amount of time that it would have taken to give it that extra touch, right, is saying, okay, we're going to take a job that's going to take a week to do normally. Now, if to the pyramid standards, that 1 week job now takes 3 months because of how fucking precise and accurate. Now, another peculiar quality to the pyramids at Giza, of course, we're talking about the three main pyramids at Giza, because there are so many more pyramids in Egypt and around that area. And the reason why that's important is because, there are different dynasties. There were different kingdoms, different ruling families that existed in Egypt over that long period of time. And we can date the construction of certain pyramids because of certain clues or the fact that it was written down or whatever. There are ways to date them. And the newer the pyramid, the worse the state of decay. Now that seems to be completely counterintuitive, right? Why are the youngest pyramids in the worst fucking shape, and the very oldest being the three pyramids at Giza? Why are they in the best of shape, right? Well, I mean, to me, it seems to indicate that the pyramids were there for a long fucking time before the descendants of the people who would eventually become Egyptian actually settled there, right? That there was a group of people walking through the desert, or at that time, I don't think it was actually completely desert, but they were being nomads and on their way and seeing these three fucking enormous structures next to a river and thought, oh, what a great place to settle down, put up roots. I think that's where the association with the Egyptian people comes with. It's not because they built them; it's because they were already there. Now, aside from the pyramids, of course, there's the Sphinx, this other really bizarre structure, and it definitely looks like now, computer modeling and taking measurements of everything, that the Sphinx originally was just a giant lion that didn't have a human face. That somebody much later, some major ego fucking maniac, a pharaoh of some sort, decided to have his face carved in over top of the lion's face, which is why when you take like the body is perfectly proportioned in all ways to itself, but then the head is completely out of whack when it comes to the proportion numbers. So it seems very likely that a pharaoh had his face carved over top of a lion's face, and that the Sphinx is much older again than the Egyptian culture. One of the great misunderstandings about the pyramids was that they were tombs. Now there are a few things about that. First of all, there's never been a body, a mummy found in any of the three pyramids. Even, I believe at the turn of the century, there was a chamber that was never opened that had remained sealed since since it was built and and left in that state. And when they used dynamite and blew a fucking hole in it, they walked in and found the sarcophagus empty. So again, the sarcophagus, you look at what it appears to be. It appears to be a receptacle for a human body. Now, it is so ridiculously um, difficult to do what they did that these sarcophagi were carved out of like a single fucking piece of stone, like a solid block of stone that where you've excised all the stone out. And you're talking about doing this with like hand drills. And if you fuck up and crack it, like that's it, is ruined. Like the level of craftsmanship that must have been involved is just absolutely staggering. So it's not difficult for me to imagine. Like I do think it's very possible that there were advanced societies that we have reached at least this, if not further, or greater levels of technology before. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, I think that is very possible that we have attained the use of computers and lasers and all those different kinds of technology, and probably better. Um, and that some great catastrophe happened, and we lost the use of that technology, the information. People don't realize how fragile our modern civilization is. Because of the level of technology that we're at, we're so reliant upon that technology. If we lost it for some reason, we would just fall into fucking chaos. And I would not be at all surprised if, um, we went back to an almost agrarian state for quite a while. Uh, because the technology you need to make the technology that we use, that the only reason why we survive in the kind of numbers and concentrations that we do, the technology that you need to make this technology is quite advanced. You need clean rooms, you need robots, you need artificial intelligence, you need all this fucking high tech infrastructure in place in order to build the everyday stuff that we really take for granted. And if for some reason there was a huge electromagnetic pulse and it wiped out all the technology that exists right now, even if you had people with the knowledge, you would not have the means to just recreate cell phones and computers, and we would have to start fucking right back at the beginning of big clunky transistors for a long fucking time before we built our technology back up to the point where we could make very precise, very delicate electronics. And so when we talk about a previous technologically advanced civilization, that is not a stretch at all, um, in my mind, that it is possible that we have reached a level comparable with our current levels of technology today, way back in the past and had since lost it. So I think that, again, another probable theory was that high technology may have been used way in the past to build the pyramids, and that they are built to such a degree of precision that I think that there's a very specific, almost mechanical purpose. I don't think it's mechanical in the way like it's a giant fucking a machine, but I do think it's a machine of sorts. That there is a purpose. It seems curiously linked to Orion's belt, and there's other things in that part of Egypt that seem to mirror space quite closely, certain parts of space. Um, but I really do think that there is some kind of link, or that there's some sort of mechanical like use um, for the pyramids. That there was a purpose for them. They weren't just monuments to the mountainous egos of whoever had them constructed. They were not constructed by slaves. That was done with very intelligent, very precise, master expert craftsmen.
Okay.
And I think that as far as pyramids are concerned, I think that's all I care to get into right now. Do you have anything? What's your take on pyramids?
Me personally, well, I mean, we covered this. Well, not covered it, but like we touched on it before, and like we touched on the idea that civilization had actually, we had actually reached the apex of civilization, discovered the nuclear weapon, and destroyed ourselves, and have probably done this several times, several times, several times, and that the pyramids, among some other, astonishing relics that we have that we can't explain the technology of the time, was likely built
Stuff
by.
like Puka Punka and Machu Picchu and
Yeah, like is like it's possible that it was built by civilizations that had reached where we are, right? Who had reached,
or a little beyond even.
or a little beyond, and like inevitably is like the theory is that they always discover nuclear weapons. And I mean, look at us right now. I mean, like the tension between our different countries with going to war and shit
Yep.
like that. I mean, even now, you could wake up dead tomorrow, right? So like,
You could wake up in the throes of a nuclear holocaust, you know, burning your shadow onto the wall behind you.
right? So like, I mean, let's face it. I mean, do you know? I mean, surely you read this. I read an article just recently where a lot of the fucking top money earners in the world, like the big fucking big earners, man, the smart guys that are sitting on the top that we all work our asses for. And do you know how many of them have already in place disaster plans? Have already have bought property in regions that they feel will be safe, who've already stockpiled tons of non-perishable goods, who have bunkers, who have like, I mean, if they're fucking doing that and they're so smart, okay, and like, everybody is expecting it. It's gonna fucking happen. I don't know if it's gonna be in my lifetime, but it could be. I mean, shit is tense right now. So anyway, like we could be headed right back there, Ryan, and you and I should be looking for some kind of fucking tunnel so that we can survive, and then play.
Oh, dude, if we go back to banging fucking rocks together, I don't want to survive.
Sure you do. Every game you play is about banging rocks together and
Yeah, but
farming.
that's a game. That's imaginary. I can turn that off and go use my fucking fancy smanchy technology.
I think
Have
I th-
brew all my own liquor and
see
walk everywhere.
see
Fuck that.
see. I believe you would make a good caveman.
I do quite well as a caveman. I'm built for it. You know,
And I think that you could help me
I have
if you
the
if
I
you
have
were
the
a
I have the body hair for it.
That's what I'm saying, right? So like you could kind of be like my caveman guide. You
Your
know,
caveman guide, yeah, and
how does
all your skills in photo editing and audio equipment.
exactly? But like,
Yeah,
I'll hang out and make you look cool, and you can just go fucking, do all the hard work and just give me some food that you catch. But try to prepare it kind of nice.
yeah.
Presentation does count, even if.
I think in that scenario, you're cooking, bud.
Well, well, I guess if I gotta do something, right?
Yeah.
Coming to the guy that fucking burns soup. I don't know how good how good I'm gonna be at it, but anyway, I got one last story that I can read, and then I gotta like call it because I gotta get up really early for work. I'm working.
Okay.
So like, are we gonna do that? We'll just do one more and
Yeah,
then
for sure. I
call it.
apologize there if I was a little long-winded. I know we didn't have much of a chance to jump in there.
That's fine.
We'll go back to our regular scheduled programming now. I hope who was it that asked that again? Vicky Farr. I hope that that answers your question, Vicky. To the best of my ability tonight, anyway.
Yeah. So let me see. Emma, if Ryan is told if he wants to make an after dark show, I'm cool with it, but it has to be off this channel. So you can nag Ryan if you like to do an after show. He'd probably be up for it. All right, let me get. Where was that submission that I was doing? All right, so this came from Leia Naimi, I think. All right. So, this comes from Leia. A few months ago, I was hired. Let me know. Wait, did I miss a thing here? The beard and the bitch. Am I missing something? Am I the bitch? Am I being referred to as a bitch here? I have to know right now because I have kicking privileges. It's a very easy thing for me to do. I would make a good dictator. Don't say things I don't like. I will kick. All right. So going back to Leia's story. A few months ago, I was hired as a night cleaner at an old hockey arena in a small town. The shift was from 8 p.m. at night to 4 a.m., and after midnight, there was absolutely no one else in the arena except for 2 to 3 cleaners. There is also no way for someone to enter the arena as all the doors are locked. Mostly we would work as a group, but there were different times when we would separate. It was during these times I was sweeping a floor on my own and would catch something moving out of the corner of my eye. I would turn my head to look, but there was nothing there. I brushed it all off at first, but it kept happening. I would clearly see that what seemed to be someone walking by the corner of my eye and turned to look, and always there would be nothing. Not long after that, some nights I would witness motion sensor lights suddenly turning on in an old corridor, and then they're, without a soul being around, so we have these motion sensor lights going off with nobody there.
Or maybe that's all it is, soul.
Or maybe that's all it is a soul. And where was I to? And the town installed a lot of these motion sensor lights in parts of the arena that weren't frequented often in order to save money on the electrical bills, right? Who or what was activating the sensors is a mystery to me. I was beginning to get creeped out by all of this, so one night I mentioned it to one of the other cleaners, and she told me that she had similar weird experiences. In particular, she was working alone late at night when she came to an area that reeked of a strong cologne and or perfume. Like when someone wearing strong scent walks through an area and the smell lingers for a while after they're gone, this smelled so strong, like someone had been there seconds ago. She thought it was the other cleaner, but they weren't wearing any scent. To top off all of these creepy happenings, she found out a bit later that the front lobby of the arena, which doubles as a sports hall of fame for the community with, tons of pictures of prominent athletes of the town from the last 70 years, has many photographs of kids who had actually died tragically before their time, and also happened to be involved in hockey or figure skating in the arena at the time. There are also big portraits of them hanging in a row along the length of the lobby with their dates of birth and death underneath, accompanied by a poem about how they were taken too soon. Now, she's recently been moved to day shift, so she no longer has these experiences, but every time that she does pass by these pictures of the dead kids in the lobby, she can't help but to feel that maybe their spirits are the ones that are roaming the arena at night. And you know what? That's possible because especially if that was something they really enjoyed. You know, they well, I mean, if I was dead, I would probably, and I was stuck here, I would frequent a place I enjoyed. And thank you, Hunter. I would love to be president. So Ryan, yes, it does quizzle. I like that too. President Pender. I like that a lot. Then I could
Would
like,
be more along the lines of a like a South American dictator, El Presidente,
but I would make a good
with
dictator.
your little green Fidel Castro hat.
I think, you know, well, I would be ruthless. I would be. I mean,
I'd be kind to my subjects at first.
I would be kind to my subjects who please me. Everybody else, they might not like it so much. But you know, when I was reading that, I got to the dead kids part. All I could picture was like in the movie It. It's like, we're this. We're all the dead kids. Remember the voices coming up from the sink?
From the sewer.
No,
Oh,
from the sink, right? When what's her face was in there cleaning that blood bubble.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, me too. Good movie though. So
Apparently, I've been committed to an after-hours show.
okay, well then, Ryan, my blessings, but you got to do all the work yourself. Like I'm not, you know, I'm not.
Well, fuck that. I don't think I'm going to do. I'm just saying that somebody has now committed me to that.
Hey, it's better.
Apparently, I start tonight.
Better that than an insane asylum, because that's where I'm
Uh, yeah, I was going to say at this rate.
at this rate. Yeah, I'll be like in there singing songs about marshmallows and drooling and biting my fingernails. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you know, just to talk about the motion sensing lights, because I think we've all experienced that to some degree. You know, you got a shed in your backyard with a motion sensing light, and it's going off. You look out, there's no animals. Maybe you have a fenced in yard, you know it wasn't an animal, and maybe it's the same time that it goes off every night. Can we have a show of hands? Is there anybody in the audience who has had experiences like that?
Oh, with a motion check,
A motion sensing shed. Hello,
over here.
Kilamati. Me too. Well, let's hear yours.
Um, well, my last job, I was pretty much running the building I was working in, and I had access to the security cameras, and I routinely went back and viewed the footage because it was a big warehouse and I couldn't watch all my workers at once because they were scattered all throughout the warehouse. And I'm not a dictator, but I expected people to do their fucking jobs, and so I spent quite a bit of time in there. And I ended up, because I was in charge, I ended up waiting there a lot after hours for trucks that were really late, held up on the highway or whatever, and they just they had to get there and deliver, or they would have to sit in their fucking truck all night until like the next day. So there was a lot of times when I was there late in the evenings, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, and we would close at 4. And fuck me if that warehouse wasn't creepy as hell. Of course, I would make sure to turn the lights off and everything, like the majority of the lights after everybody had left. And the security camera equipment wasn't too far from my desk, and I routinely just I got a wheelie chair, and I would just push myself a couple of feet so I could stare at the monitors and be close to my phone. Anyway, there were motion sensors that would trigger like a little light and make a little audio cue whenever it picked up motion. because there was different modes, and like when people were gone, I would turn on the motion tracker mode. It wouldn't set off an alarm, but it would make a sound saying that, oh, there's somebody moving around or something. And I don't know how many times, pretty much every week, when nobody was in the building, though that little green light would come on, and there'd be the little beep, and I'd go to the monitors and there'd be nothing, and it's just a giant warehouse. There was no, there's nothing moving. There weren't even, I don't even think there were fucking fans in the ceiling, like rotating fans. Like it used big air ducts to circulate air around. So that was probably my most prominent experience with stuff like that. Of course, I've had situations where motion sensor lights have flicked on and off, and in that warehouse, I would routinely hear sounds coming from the other end of the warehouse that you couldn't see, and it'd just be like a bang or like the sound of a box hitting the floor, and yeah.
So what do
So,
you figure? Why the warehouse? What do you figure?
well, I know that somebody had, a couple of years before I started working there, somebody had smashed into the racking with a forklift and collapsed it on them and died.
Dude, was that? I'm just gonna throw a last name at you. You'll know who I'm talking about. Dower?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
That was, this happened in, the warehouse that I ran, like, what was it, fucking 4 years ago,
Oh, okay.
or six years ago now.
If there ever was a cursed person, that guy was
Oh
cursed. Eh?
man,
Holy fuck.
oh man,
Yeah.
just a human fucking train wreck.
Yep. Well, I mean that's pretty fucked up. I mean, I know that when I lived um fuck, I'm not gonna say the name of the street. Like I don't know who
Yeah,
fuck who fuck watched this. But Ryan, where you and I met, that place,
yeah,
or no, not that place. The place I moved to next. You know where that's to too, right?
yeah, yeah,
How vague can I be?
yeah.
Anyway, there was a motion sensor light on that shed in the back, and that thing, man, every fucking night at like 3 in the morning, that thing would go off, and that's actually one of the spots where I went out one time, and I saw a shadow man. I think I told you about that before, but I saw a
Yeah.
shadow man at that, and that's partially how I could see it. I guess was that because the light had lit up, um, it was the contrast between the shadow and the lit
Well,
stuff.
that's why I was going to ask you. The time that you seen the Shadow Man, did it set off the
Well, it did, and
light?
the thing is, there was nobody out there. Like, I mean, I could see from my bedroom window, and I even went out anyway. Like, there was nothing. There was nobody anywhere. Um, Hang on now. I think Kelly just sent a. I'm still looking for it. Kelly, if
Oh,
you're in the chat,
sorry, Miguel.
I still don't have it yet. It might take a minute, but yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you that I mentioned this before too. But I really would wish that like one of you guys had a good story of this for me. Just because I'd like to hear it. But the whole idea with walking under streetlights and having the street lights go out. I mean, and I know that there's motion sensor street lights now, but I mean, back when I experienced it, it was back before there was such thing as that. I mean, and truthfully,
What's the name for that? I always forget it.
they call them sliders, right? And
Sliders. That's right.
I don't know how that I don't know how that name.
I know it was a crappy sci-fi show a long time ago.
Maybe that's where, but it's essentially yeah. I mean, where I
Are you
live.
talking about Kelly's email? Because I got it here.
No, I got her email. I'm waiting for her. I gave her my Skype name because we're supposed to chat to her after the show. So I'm waiting.
Oh, okay.
Right? And
For the accepting. Gotcha.
yeah. So I'm still waiting for that to pop up because I couldn't. I looked up her name and there's like a million of them. And
Yeah, yeah. I just misunderstood. Sorry. Go ahead.
okay,
Sliders.
so like anyway, I said this before, but there was this one street light, and you know we don't have that shit where I live. Like it's a poor fucking city,
Yeah,
right?
they still don't have motion detecting.
We still don't have we don't have motion detected or like lights or anything like that. So it could be like 3 in the fucking morning, nobody's out, and you're at a red light, and there ain't nobody for miles, and you still gotta fucking wait at that red light. Anyway, so I had this one street light that I used to, pass every time that I was going downtown or whatever, and every fucking time I got under it, bang, it would go out. And once I got to the next one, it would turn on. And my friends noticed it too. It's not like I had some ability, because that's what, they say about sliders. It's like, they have the ability to, interrupt electrical devices or whatever. But like, this wasn't exclusive to me. This was anybody who went under. There wasn't motion sensors. There wasn't. I really don't know. But do you know something? One of the cool things, we did a story. I can't remember who it was with. I can't remember what the whole story entailed, but you might remember this part. The guy went to a friend's house, and they were messing around on a Ouija board, right? And there were a couple times, like, it was like he was basically, the Ouija board told him that someone was at the door for him or something like that. And when he went there, he opened the door. There was nobody there, but like this cold breeze went in, and it really spooked him. He didn't want to freak out in front of his friends, and he just said, he wanted to leave. He's like, "This is all bullshit." I'm not scared.
Like you do when you don't want to believe in something. This is stupid. I'm leaving. You guys are weirdos.
It's like he answers the door and it's like, "Oh God!" And he goes back. "It's all bullshit. I don't believe in this." And he's gonna go home. And anyway, so he starts leaving. And as he was driving home, every street light as he went under it fucking went out, like boom, on each side of the street. That would fucking freak me out. And that's the kind of, I would like to hear stories like that. Just flat out fucking boom. I walked into Walmart and Walmart turned off. Like give me something crazy, something like where like you're the electrical ghost phenomenon guy that fucks shit up, like on Step Brothers. What are you here for? We're here to fuck shit up. Push them down and push their papers. Yeah.
So you're looking for some kind of paranormal phenomenon related to electrical devices, and I mean personally I've read tons of those. People who claim that they can't go near electronics or their phones, and anything they use as batteries die very quickly, or they fry electronics all the time. It's almost like they have like the worst luck in the world, and it's just electrical devices get screwed up around them.
Yep, for sure. Oh, I got her here. I could bring her into the conversation. You want to bring her in right now?
I guess.
I mean, we're going to chat to her anyway. We'll get her story. Okay. She's in the chat. Are you cool with this? We're just going to fly by the seat of our pants, right? Because we all float down here.
Well, you're going to have to give me a minute, because I thought we were going to have a break.
1 minute exactly. Oh, right. I told you. But you know what? You go. I'll just bring her in, and we'll start chat.
Okay.
How do I do this again? How do I do this? Why does this gotta be so fucking... Give me a moment, folks. This Skype on a Mac is not as intuitive. Why can I not just invite the conversation? Hang on now. Hang on. I'll have to come back to this. All right. So how about I try to entertain you guys with something else while I'm waiting? Okay. So what would you guys like to hear about? You tell me, and I'll tell you. Come on. Yeah, he probably didn't like it, Hunter. That that might have offended him a little bit. Yes, from the NDE. That's That is the Kelly I'm referring to. Did I see? No, I didn't see Split, and I would love to see Split, but I'll tell you, I live in a small city, and our only theater, and I'm telling you, like if you got like an old HD TV, it's better quality than our theater screen. But they don't even get movies. Like I would go just for something different to do, but since the new managers took over, it's nothing but fucking kids movies and like whatever Marvel movie or Superman or some shit like that. Like they just don't have, the stuff that I like. Like when The Conjuring 2 came out, that was my kind of movie. And the first one did well. I thought that they would get it, and no, they didn't. And Vicky Farr, yes, I actually you're referring to Resident Evil 7. I'm actually on my second playthrough. I fucking loved it. It was fantastic. I think it was the best Resident Evil that I played, and I played them from the first one. In fact, I think I liked it better. It's at least on the level of my favorite Silent Hills. And to be fair, I got a lot of nostalgia. I have nostalgia filters for Silent Hill. But yes, the new Resident Evil was fucking fantastic. Ryan, I didn't even get to tell you about all that, did I?
I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about.
The new Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, I've watched the whole thing, playthroughs.
It's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so what's happening?
well, for some reason, I was gonna add Kelly to the chat, and I was like, add to or
Conversation.
maybe I gotta add. Oh wait, now I can do it. Now I can do it. I just needed your luck, your unusual luck. I didn't do anything different. Anyway, I'm adding her. I hope you are ready, Kelly, for the curse of Ryan Sharp. You can video us. Well, okay, we'll pop on and you can still offer up your video when you get in. Okay, I can kind of see
Hey,
it. Here we go. Now, how can I add? Can I add this in? Let me just see what I got done here. I have Ryan here. Can I pop you in a different window? Is that possible? Can I do
A
that?
damn pop filter.
hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Kelly.
Hi.
I'm trying to pop you in a different window, and it's not. Oh wait.
Am I not popping?
No, I see you on Skype. It's just I was gonna add you to the the window that we have up here, and for some reason I can't pop your video different. Yeah, this is just a Mac Skype, and let's face it, Microsoft owns Skype, and they really don't give a fuck about Mac. All right, so let's jump into your conversation or your story about the near death experience. Well, that's what it came across to for me, was the near death experience. And I did see your comments. I didn't get I was at work, so I couldn't properly reply. But so this shook you a little, right? Like you didn't expect to.
I'm still shook. I am still shook. I'm I am so freaked out now. I never looked at it that way. I didn't really know how to look at it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you like not every day. I've talked to people who have had near-death experiences who, originally they think it's well, I fell asleep. I had a very vivid dream. I had you don't know how to process or interpret that, but for you, I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind. And I know that the airplanes are grounded. It's just like if lightning hit your car, even your car is grounded, right? But I don't know. So I don't know how that works out, but it's just how you explain the experience. The fact that, you were seeing basically what seemed to be a family, right? That were there greeting
Yeah.
you.
Well, I don't know who they were. It was an older, like the two guys seemed too close to age for them to be like father, son, or and then grandson, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't get that vibe. It was just like, oh, there's people and a dog and a boy and uh what the fuck? I mean that you know because I legit had just seen the flashy, things, and I had my little pin light, and I had leaned out of the lab to look because I kept hearing this weird sound, this ooh, and the way that you did it, that's exactly what it sounded like. And I'm like, somebody is totally screwing with me. I thought Jim had snuck on or someone, and it wasn't.
So
And then the light.
Jim was alarmed, right? Like he saw the flash. So he was alarmed when he ran in, and he said like no, he did see a couple, the shadow of the young boy who had said don't worry, Mister, or whatever. And then for you, but you had like a how's it you described it? I mean, you said you touched the dog, it was cold and wet, almost metallic. Is that the way that you described?
It, oh God, I can feel it right now. Like my hand just went cold, like ice freaking cold. Um, it was like, how can I explain this? And I've tried to like simulate this. It was like touching, you could feel the fur, but you couldn't. It wasn't wet. It was like a bone chilling cold that, do you know the saying that, well, you do, you're in freaking Canada, how you get cold to the bone, like
Oh
cold
yes.
straight to your bone, and you cannot get warm no matter what you do. It's like whenever you have a fever, but you're so chilled.
Yeah.
It was like that. And it went from the tip of my fingers almost up to my elbow. It
Okay.
it and I could feel it, but it did it while I was sitting in Jim's truck. Now Jim's gone now. He passed away.
Okay.
Uh, and that's whenever I retired. I couldn't do it. I was done. But I do talk to his wife, Marge, quite a bit. But, like 2 or 3 times a year, she checks in with me. But and I talked to her recently because I have my new granddaughter, and every time there's a new baby, she's all about it. So, and she'll be over maybe here in the next couple weeks. So,
Can you
yeah, but and I felt it in my leg too, like from now the dog hit me from my calf, like the bottom, well, the top of my right calf up past my knee. It was a big dog. It was a big dog.
did,
It.
can you
Go
just
ahead.
can you describe some of the physical symptoms that like at that moment, because like I know that you felt the coldness and you felt on your hand and your leg. Like,
Yeah.
did you have a numbness? Did you have like what physical symptoms can you think of that you had?
Afterwards or during?
Both. We'll start with during.
Okay. During, whenever the lightning hit, and well, let me take that back. I'll take it from when it first started. I just finished the galley. I turned around, and that's whenever the lightning hit. Now I had a tablet that had like a handle on it, and it was decent size. It was probably like 6 pounds. And I dropped it, and I cracked the corner of it. But I dropped it, and like immediately my hands went to my ears, just like this, like slammed. And it was like wasn't like an electric, it was like a warm. Everything just got warm, like
Okay.
really warm. And my eyes were wide open, and it was like they just flashed in like a flash. And then they were there. It was the older of the two gentlemen was right there, and then the next one, and those they were wet, like soaked, hair wet, soaked. And then the little boy, and then the dog. And I felt warm and in awe, like what, startled at first because I wanted to say, who the hell are you? You know,
Yeah.
because nobody's supposed to be there. You have to have a badge and you got to be keyed in. And, you know, security was high. It was after 9/11.
Yeah.
So, but I felt cold whenever the dog touched me. That was the first cold that I felt, was whenever the dog touched me. And the dog touched me before I touched it. It came to me. Um,
Is my audio still working fine?
It
yeah,
is,
I hear you.
it is, but it's
Okay.
echoey.
Yeah, the our video or my video feed looks like it's frozen.
Oh.
I think it's because we got three people in the conversation and the video. Well, you can't get the video up on stream anyways. Kelly, maybe can you just kill your video? Maybe that'll bring the bit rate back up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. How do I do that?
Um.
Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe is that how I do it?
It should be
I,
just
Is that better?
Skype. It
y-
might.
that should help. Um. So, I guess a couple elements of your story. Wait, she's still there? Kelly, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
So a couple of the elements of your story that even brought that to my mind, I guess. First of all, is okay. It's like immediately after the lightning happens, you have the basically a family in front of you, and the sensations that you're describing. The coldness when you touched the dog, and the coldness on the hand, and the like I've heard. I think we've even covered a couple near-death experiences on the show where one of the first things that some people feel, I guess, as their body is going out, right, as they're dying or whatever, is that they feel the sensation of going cold. So, like, even if they're outside of their body, they could be standing next to it even, but they still feel that sensation as their body's cooling down. And so like that could come in any various form. Like for you, you're had a dog leaning up against you. I believe you said you touched the hand, or did you have any interaction besides the dog with the folks?
No, just he just kept saying, breathe. You just breathe. It's okay. You're fine.
I mean,
Everything.
yeah. So even that fact, the way that they acted with you, right? Because they weren't really there, right? I mean, all Jim could see was the shadow of a couple of beings. He couldn't see the people, and as you know, it's not physically impossible not physically possible for these people to just appear there. It was all tightened down
Right.
security wise. So like, don't you find it convenient that there's this group of people there who are
Yeah.
who are calming you, saying, you're going to be okay, just breathe. It's almost like what you'd expect from a guardian angel. Like I've heard stories like that, like people who have gotten in accidents. Like one story that comes to mind was this person who was in a car accident, and they were waiting for the ambulance to show up. It was like on a highway, and they got there, and he could hear them saying they're losing them, they're gonna lose them, and he watched this woman dressed in black go over and like she like touched his hand or did something like that, and then she left, and he just came right back. Nobody else saw her. Nobody else knew what he was talking about. It was just something that he saw. And
Well, there's something that bothers me about all of this. And this is something that going in and listening to last week's, podcast or whatever, show, something that Ryan touched on that legit is what has kept me up all night since this. And it just feels so right. But I want to talk, Ryan, some you said, look, I'm freaking shaking. You said that, I get it may have been a near-death experience. I get, I can accept that. But Ryan, you said that what bothered you, and this is exactly what bothers me, is I have had years of conversations with Jim about this, would call me out of the blue at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, Kel, I need to talk to you. You know, this is because what he saw shook that man. It shook him. It scared him. He was so scared. And what he what bothers me is that thing was about like an inch from touching me. I could feel the cold off of it, from touching my face. And what Jim saw and what I saw were completely different. And Ryan, you touched on it during the show that what I was feeling with my hand on the dog wasn't exactly what I was seeing. Do you know what I mean? A dog does. I mean, my dog is right here. I am petting my dog right now, and he does not feel nearly like that dog. Do you know what I mean, Ryan?
Yeah, I think what I alluded to was that what the image that they were presenting to you may have not, in fact, been the reality of the situation. That what you were seeing was an illusion, and the giveaway, of course, being when you came in physical contact with the dog, that it didn't feel like a dog, and also the discrepancy between what you and Jim were seeing.
Yes, that to me, see, I haven't talked to anybody else about this besides Jim and his wife and another guy that I worked with, an officer there. And he has a dog, but he had an incident with the dog that I saw later on, but with his dog. But what you're saying, I guess I needed someone to say it. Does that make sense?
Oh,
I
well,
needed to hear.
certainly anything like this becomes anything outside of our normal day-to-day life requires some serious processing. And it's this is I've been super interested in paranormal and stuff ever since I was a little kid. But I mean, let's face it, Will and I do this kind of stuff as a part-time job now, and the stories and the things that I read and am exposed to on a daily, weekly basis, you know, definitely allow for some uh, different perspective in some cases. And that's why I think that shows like ours and the stuff that we do, one of the important factors is that it allows people who've had experiences to kind of work through, even if they're not even involved in the conversation. But we can, between Will and myself, we're impartial to the story. We're separate from the story, and from time to time, perhaps we can work through it in ways that the experiencers may not consider, because it's we're exposed to a lot of different material, and b we have that objective perspective. We
Right.
because we weren't involved. So what do you have a feeling as to what you think they may have been? I mean, I'm not convinced that it was any kind of a guardian angel myself, but you
I,
definitely seem to have received somewhat mixed signals to a degree.
I am totally mixed. I've been mixed for 18 years now. I mean, it's been 18 years. And I, man, I don't know.
Well, one thing I just
It
like.
hasn't been 18 years. Wait a minute. It happened in late '02. So it, what, what I, whenever I go back to it, I think, I don't know, Ryan. It's like, it's so freaking confusing. It, because you can beat your head in, which I've done for however long, and I don't know. I don't know if it was. I've tried to think it was. I go over every little word that they said, and what the kid said to Jim. It really? Why would you say I know her? I don't know who these people are or whatever they are. If they're people, I don't know what they are. I, I don't.
Yeah.
Why would he say that they know me? That. But my mom. Now get this. My mom said something that kind of sent my hackles up. That she said that there was whenever I was little, like way little, like 2 and 3 years old, I would tell her, I'd look at her and say, "We got time," or "We don't got time," and that's like the only words I knew. And she didn't figure it out until one of her friends would bring. I mean, it's like a hillbilly friend that she really didn't like, and what I was doing was telling her whether we had time to hide before they got there and act like we weren't home, or if we didn't have time to hide. And she said I'd always look at, and I would legit tell her, yes, we have time. And she'd run us back to the bedroom and we'd hide back there while they knocked on the door and then they'd leave. And mom said it used to freak the hell out of her because I would just all of a sudden say, "We got time." And mom would scoop me and my brother up and we'd head back to the bedroom and hide. And then mom said that every time she had her little boy with her, I would look at that little boy and say, "You got the devil in you." And she said I would relentlessly say it so much that they just stopped coming over. So, and I'm like, "Mom, why didn't you tell me that?" And she's like, "Well, because it was just really weird. You always did really weird shit like that." And I'm like, "Okay." But it makes me think, well, were those things that I saw and that I felt trying to tell me something then? Like, you know what I mean? You just go back to every little. Is this what happened whenever you guys had experiences? Because then you go back
Well,
and you think,
so sometimes you do, but I think there's a more simple idea here that Ryan really touched on, but just to connect it in such a simple way. You know how, like, have you ever had a dream where, like, maybe, I don't know, you were bit by a dog or something? It's just hypothetical, right? You were bit by a dog, and you wake up and you find out that your hand is, like, clamped into bed or something like that, right? Like, you dream and you feel pain in your dream, and in your dream something is happening. Then you wake up and you find that, yeah, something's happening to cause you pain, but it's completely different than the image that you saw when you were dreaming it, right?
yeah,
So if, say you were struck by lightning, right? And this is what a lot of near-death experiences is for people. It's like the chemical, the dopamine and all the different chemicals that are released from the brain. A lot of people say that these chemicals, they create like I guess a hallucinogenic kind of experience, and I guess, comfort you, your brain will create a scenario that is comforting to you. It could be like an old grandmother that you had. It could be people you don't know, like in this case, but it could be
okay.
people.
And how does that explain what Jim saw?
Well, Jim, you might have actually been dying. You might have actually stopped. Your heart may have actually stopped, or you might have been on the verge of death. And maybe you had old relatives, like way down the family line, that you didn't recognize, that had actually come there to bring you through, like if you were going to die, or maybe they came to protect you. What Jim saw, Jim wasn't dying. So what Jim saw, he was close enough at the actual scene where spirits were converging, that he saw, like, when we see a shadow person, it's probably not a shadow person. We're just seeing the shadow, the glimpse of a different entity into our world. We can't see into their dimension from here. But, if we could, Maybe they have all these different colors that we can't see and shapes that we can't see, because we're just not privy to that dimension. We only see like the slight ripple that it makes when it comes over here. So what Jim saw was probably just, a shadow of the actual event that was taking place, because he's not dying, you are. So as you're dying, now you're switching between here and there. You're in between. You can see both. Jim can't. Jim can only see the tiny hint of what's going on that's coming through.
So is that why when I turned and looked at him away from them, I did. And my whole arm was moving down that dog because I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever felt, And then I looked at the guy and he reached his hand out to touch my left cheek, like he was right there. And then I heard the click of the aft alley door to my right. And I turned and looked and I still had my hand on the dog and was, leaned over a little bit to pet the dog. And I looked at him and he said, no, you didn't move. Whenever I opened the door and came in, he said, you were perfectly still, like your hand was barely moving and you were looking straight ahead. And he said there was no lights on and you were just right there. You were not moving. You didn't even react. Whenever I got in front of you.
That's because you were possibly in the spirit realm. Like your body was there. You were
out of body already.
You were somewhere else. Like you were here just barely, but you were somewhere else. And like I said, like those people that came to see you, that's their different perspectives. You're dying. It's just like, I've heard so many stories because my mom is a licensed practical nurse, and she works at an old age home, right? Or she's retired now, but she, for many years she's worked there, so she's seen many, many people die, including my nan, within the last couple of years, and right up until, the last, week or two, she would actually go in there and she would see my nan, smiling and reaching up towards the ceiling, like smiling at somebody, like somebody she knows, like she, like there's somebody there. And there are so many stories that I've heard of like people, especially old people who are dying from the hospital, because like there's just a lot of nurses around to see this happen, but they swear up and down, oh, my dead husband came in here the other night. Yeah, we had a conversation. And like that's what they say. They see their loved ones come in like near their end stages before they die. A lot of them actually see relatives who have passed long ago, and they have conversations. They'll follow them around the room with their eyes. It's like they're having this whole conversation with someone who's not there, right? And
that makes sense, that because what Ryan said about that, because that got me, because you're right, Ryan, you are dead on. What I was touching was not what I was seeing, and what I was seeing was not what Jim was seeing. And but see, I didn't really have any after effects besides, I did feel like I was real groggy afterwards. And I don't know if that was so much psychological, because it gave me a mind fuck, excuse my French, but it really did. I was a mess for probably 2 straight weeks. But the only effects, quote unquote, physical that I had was, and I can still feel it to this day in my hand. It's like whenever I remember it, I can put my hand, I can feel it in my hand and in my leg. But emotionally, I was a mess. Psychologically, I was a mess for 2 weeks. But physically, I was fine. You know what I mean?
But that happens, right? Like, some people have near-death experiences and they don't even like technically die, right? Some people they don't even get hurt. They could be like, almost get in a really tragic car accident and just miss it, but they still get like that life flash behind their eyes and this kind of thing. But a lot of people, like just the way that you describe it, the coldness Did you have any numbness?
Um, I did immediately, like after, like whenever I got onto Jim's truck and sat down, I kept feeling my hand, and it felt like my hand was numb. You know what I mean? It was like almost unbelievable.
That's
I
what
mean,
it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me. Now I don't know if it was because of the lightning or coincidental. I mean, I'm leaning towards somehow there was something not grounded that were struck by. But I mean, Ryan, wouldn't you say that's what it sounds like? It's like she something happened. She popped out of her body. There was her greeting crew. She
Well, and it doesn't always have to be the greeting party either, right? I mean, when we're dealing with the spirit realm, um, it could have been somebody just passing by,
true.
right?
yeah,
And you just so happened to pop out of your body when when a group of whatever was passing through the area, and they stop and they're like, "Hey, look at that! One of the meat bags can see us."
But I guess,
And
but the
you
fact that
know,
they were kind of like comforting her, and even the Jim when he came in to say that like she's gonna be okay, it was almost like it was planned. You know what I mean? Like a lot.
well, it doesn't mean that they have to be assholes either. They
well,
may
and
have
I
been.
saw it before. I saw it before whenever I was checking out the AF lab, and I peeked my head out because I kept hearing that freaking weird noise, and I like the lightning flashed like 8 or 10 times, super, super. It was like a strobe light, and it was like it moved from there to there to there to there to there. You know what I mean?
Bouncing around. I
Yeah.
mean, Will could very well be correct as well. I've heard many of those stories that perhaps there was some level of foreknowledge on the part of these beings, whoever they were, and they decided to pop down and provide some support and be like, well, it's not our time. Maybe we'll let her know, but. Uh, like personally, I have some suspicion that wasn't the case. That what you seen, what you experienced, that to a degree, there was a level of deception. I really feel that there was a level of deception there on their part, and that makes me suspicious.
And that's where I'm at too, Ryan. I sent this email to Will earlier, some of the questions that I had, like why was it there? What did it want or they want? What would have happened if it would have touched my face? Would I be me? Would I not be me? Would I be here? Would I not be here? Do you know what I mean?
Maybe,
Sir.
maybe you would have died. Like maybe that was it, and what you were feeling was actually the you were feeling the coldness of your body as it was dying, right? And you just were in a different spot, but you were feeling it. But that being said, even though I would like to do more of this, I have to. I got to get ready to go to well, not go to work right now, but I got to get up in like 6 hours, if that.
Oh, dude. Sorry.
No, no, and it's not your bad. I was gonna be here for a bit anyway, and I still gotta wait for this to process on YouTube for like an hour, so I gotta wrap it up. But that being said, thanks for popping on. I don't know if we answered any questions for you. I mean,
It has helped.
well, I'm
It's helped.
I'm glad to hear that. Like naturally, the way that these things go is that the more answers you get, the deeper the more questions that arrive from that, right? But and I'm just saying this as someone who's like read thousands and thousands of near death experiences. That's what it sounds like to me, right? I'm not
And
saying
I never would have thought that. I would have never thought that in a million years. I really wouldn't have.
my
But it
my
it's a good perspective.
my suggestion would be if you're very very interested in getting to the bottom of it, would be just to like there are websites like scientific, like, or I should say nonprofit organizations. I think IONS is one of it, ions.com or something. And they like catalog like tons and tons of near-death experiences. And you can just go, I mean, they're all varied. And you can just go, but you will see some that echo a lot of those same, same elements as in your story. And it's just, it's different for everybody, but a lot of the things are the same, if that makes sense. Like it's like you're seeing something different, but like the whole feeling cold and I mean, don't you think it's a coincidence that lightning struck, and then
It is.
and then you're feeling coldness, then you're seeing people who aren't there, and they're trying to comfort you, and you're.
Is that why I saw things later on as well?
It could have opened you. It could have opened up like a sensitivity
Well,
to.
that's something that Howard Storm said, that after he came back, that he saw a lot of the spirit world for quite a while afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have opened up like your senses to that kind of thing. In fact, if you look back and you can honestly trace like your perception, or your perception to the paranormal right to that event, like since then it's been more active for you, or you've seen more things, then I think you got your answer right there, right?
Wow. My
So
mind completely
it,
blown.
if you want to look more into the near-death experience stuff, there is, like Will mentioned, IANDS,
Yep.
the International Association for Near-Death Studies. It's IANDS. Search it up on the internet, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're also correct with the it's a nonprofit kind of support information group.
Yep.
So if you're interested in that, or you have some questions, I'm sure somebody there would be willing to help out. I'm glad that we were able to possibly illuminate a little bit of your situation. And
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. You guys are awesome. I would have never thought to look at it in this perspective. And it's made me really take a step back, and now I'm going to have to go through my journal and look at the things that I've seen and the things that others have seen, and like put it all into a different perspective. And that's what really has gotten me this last week, that I've really thought about, is the way that you guys looked at it was completely different than the way that I was looking at it, and it feels right now. It feels better now. And I greatly appreciate that. You guys are awesome.
Well,
thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we could help. I mean, me and Ryan are weird guys, right? So like, I guess we just look at things in a different way anyway. Especially since like we've been doing this for so long. We just tend to look at it that way. But you know what? That's awesome. If you found anything in that, and now you can begin your journey to look further into it, what that means to you.
Absolutely. Another satisfied customer, guys.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. And so I'm just going to let you go,
Okay.
Kelly.
Have a great night. Thanks for sharing with us.
For
You
sure.
do the same, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. So I guess I could have said it while she was there. I think I did. We'd like to thank Kelly for coming on and sharing, her story, and I guess it must have been interesting for everybody else. I mean, it was a very interesting, it was an interesting story last week when we did it, right? So we're glad, we're happy that you guys all came out, and heard us blather on, and I mean, we still got tons of submissions, but for sure, if you guys got more effed up stories that you'd like to get into the show, I mean, we're always looking for them. Send them on in. Go to effedupstories.com. That's EFFEDUPSTORIES.com. Go to the submissions, fill it out, send it in, and Ryan and I will pop it into a show and do our thing.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. Another fun stream. I love the comments. You guys, a lot of you guys are fucking hilarious. Keep me chuckling and cracked up the whole night. Um, so yeah, I hope you all come back next week and we can hang out for a couple of hours together again. Um, and hope to in the interim even get some of your stories if any of you have them.
Oh yeah, and especially any stories like if you got, again, like, you know, interacting or like interfering with electrical, sliders, right? Or if you almost got killed by a serial killer, just something off the wall different. We'll take those too. So good night, everybody. Thanks for popping in, and we will see you next week. Have a good
Good night,
one.
everybody.
We appreciate it. Good night.